Do we have any questions, comments, concerns, hopes, dreams, aspirations from the crowd about what we talked about today concerning AI? Leandra's going to come to you with that mic.
I just wanted, first off, applaud everyone, the speakers, for their willingness to be open to the AI conversation. And to challenge those of you in the room who, for some reason, are against it, to think of it in this way. So I teach part-time here, but I have a full-time job outside. And I lead a team of writers, right? We're the director of the proposal, what we call a proposal development center. But we now use AI, not just on our team, but I'm also part of a committee company-wide of how we are implementing AI over a 3-year plan in each group that we have, right? And so teaching the students now how to use AI is the responsible thing to do, because as someone who works outside of CSUN in the business world where these students are going to end up, they are going to be required to use it. And if they sit in an interview and the person says, how do you feel about using AI tools, which is more than just generative AI, by the way, we use AI so much more. And if someone says, I really like to do my own work, I really don't feel comfortable using AI generated tools, they're not going to get hired. It doesn't work. And the reason for that is not because we don't care about people's individual thoughts, but from a business perspective, it's productivity. It makes things go so much faster. And that's what people are looking for. So applauding everyone for taking that stance of saying, this is here, so let's now deal with it, and challenge those of you who might be a little standoffish to say, as an educator, one of our responsibilities is to make sure our students are prepared for the next step, and AI is that next step for them. I'll be speaking at graduation, but I'm
Fantastic work. Dr. Irene Clark?
Thank you very much. This was wonderful. I learned a lot, and I agree with what the last speaker said. I agree that if the students don't know anything about AI, they are not going to get the job. They're also not going to get the job if they don't know how to structure a text. So I think that the way I have used it, I'm very much interested in imitation. I'm interested in rhetorical moves. And so one way to use this is to have AI generate a text and foster analysis. How is the text being structured in terms of not just elements, right? I heard that, but in terms of the moves within the text to develop ideas. And then you can have, I know I use a very dirty word, I use the word imitation. People don't like that word. I have the students imitate it, criticize it, and vary it. And I think that's a very good use of it. Of course, you could also do that with a print text, but you can do this in class with a variety of assignments. And it fosters students' awareness that you know about this, that you encourage them to use it, and that's one way to do it. I think that's actually something that you can use without really sacrificing too much time from what we're trying to do in many of our classes, and that's teach students consciousness, awareness, and the ability to write in various genres.
Can I respond? This was not to me, but I wanted to say I like this idea of making explicit what is implicit, right? There are, like you were saying, a number of rhetorical moves, kind of elements of a text that we often don't recognize or interpret, like in that, well, I guess exactly. Basically, in the event of interpretation, right, that's going on. So yeah, I really liked that suggestion, and I did like the last one.
Yeah, actually, in spirit of the last two comments and what you were speaking about, Colleen, one of the questions I had for all of you, actually, was how do you navigate that fine line between using pedagogy or using AI in the classroom and using it, or when students use it unethically, as one of you called it, right? Where is that fine balance between encouraging it in the classroom and then saying, hey, this is a little bit too much? How do we navigate that very fine line?
I'll really quickly just say, basically, I think that you need to first have them write on their own, and then you can implement certain AI tools. In terms of the line between like, the human-computer spectrum of generation, I think transparency, thinking through kind of their process. I think honestly, I'm still learning. And I do think, you could have guardrails as Anna was suggesting. I don't know, anyway, they're done. Okay.
Yes, please.
Well, as I said, I sort of try to make it really explicit. You can use it in this way, but don't use it in this way because this is designed for your learning with certain assumptions. It's designed for, your learning when you do certain things on your own. I have various approaches that I think help with academic integrity, teaching process, collaborative annotation, teaching for intrinsic motivation, and giving students choice, and having maybe some in-class writing or some oral discussion of the writing, videos. All these things could help reduce misuse of AI, and I still have some cases of it. And so I have gone, since the detectors are, biased and inaccurate and also very easy to evade just by putting an essay through Cobot. So I'm not using detectors, but I am, and I get, I've certainly been tempted and I have used them, and I'm not trying to say like, people use them are evil, but I have gone to say, okay, I don't think that's accurate enough. So I am using process tracking with Google Docs so that I have a little app that shows at the top how much time they spend on the document and how many copy pastes, and it shows me the copy pastes, and it replays the writing process, and that's the direction that I've gone. There are a number of apps for that now, and I talked to them about, you can tell me if there's a different process. If you're not comfortable with this, I will work with you. But I do think it prevents some misuse and provides some transparency. Of course, they could retype AI text and insert edits. So it's not, it's not foolproof, but some sense of accountability, I think is still important.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time. Everyone, thank you. This is a wonderful, wonderful presentation. I have a really, oh, yeah, so we have just a few moments.
Oh, so sorry. I think Anna answered a little bit of it. More specific question, probably directly to Stephanie. You said that you teach, you include a unit using AI. And how do you approach in terms of like language in your syllabus, for example? And the difference between allowing this in your curriculum as well as including something in your plagiarism policy in terms of language in your syllabus. How do you have these two align, and how does it converge, I guess?
Good question. My AI statement in the syllabus is definitely still in a work in progress and ever evolving. I will say that I probably take a very harsh approach in the syllabus, as I know this is a controversial conversation to have, but yes, I still take a very harsh approach in my syllabus, and then when cases do arise, I actually talk directly to the students one-on-one and all of that. But I did this past semester, I think, add more nuanced language about we will, at least in this 250 context, we will do activities together about the use or with the use of AI, and also do limiting language in terms of please do not use it for this and that purpose source.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's
One more right here.
Oh, okay, if I may. Ishwari Pandey, and just a couple of observations. First, thank you, excellent panelists, for sharing the insights and wisdom and guidelines. So really appreciate that. It's somebody who teaches business communication, among others. I also would like to back up what the first respondent said earlier. So as I look into the way AI has been used in the business world, it's been actually shown through controlled research now, and that AI performs better when it comes to ideation and for purposes of efficiency and productivity. It's already been shown. So you're absolutely right that they're looking for people who can work with AI. Just communication and writing alone is not enough, although that's really important. So the difference is going to be now between the folks who can use AI and the folks who can not use AI, okay, for their purpose. That's number one. Number two, I use AI a lot. I teach my students to use AI in my business communication class, but also in other classes that I'm teaching. I ask them to use AI, ChatGPT, or other tools also, and then critique it and then produce a text that's different. In some way, like Professor Lim's example in some of my classes. I'm also now working with a team of researchers, primarily in computer science. The lead is at University of Missouri. It's called process feedback. I don't know if Professor Mills is familiar with that. We also submitted a workshop proposal for the first year for next year. So we'll see what happens with that. But what it does is the process feedback. Students don't need to log in or anything. And they can just, it's also in the process of being incorporated into Google Doc. And so they can share the doc, and then we can look at the entire thing. From start brainstorming to the finished product, the actual process of composing, revising, and finishing it up. So we'll see how that goes. I joined the team rather late, so I'm not one of the pioneers there, latecomer on that. But at the same time, I'm also very skeptical of everything. When you were talking about this, right, we were having fun here, back here. So we asked, to produce a professional profile. You can still use the prompt, I guess, for Professor Irene Clark. Those are the only words we gave it. And then it, produced this.
I didn't know I went to Cambridge. I had no idea. I must have blocked it out somehow.
Yeah, the only correct thing it gave was that she is a professor, she has a PhD in literature.
Right.
But everything else,
From Cambridge.
so everything else was fake, including Guggenheim. Oh,
I know,
have you
Guggenheim.
won?
I had a Fulbright, but
Right.
I didn't have a good, maybe that's why, I don't know.
But then, it thought she got the Guggenheim, so. So thank you.
One more quick question. Yeah, actually, my question is just, would it be possible, and would the panelists be interested if we could set up maybe a chat option? Because I do have several questions, but I know we're already at our time limit, and so I don't want to be adding to that. But I have a couple of questions just for the practicality of different ways that AI shows up in the classroom when it comes to grading, evaluation, things like that. So just, would that be possible, and would you be interested if we submitted questions, we could do like kind of an extended chat maybe after this is all over, just so it doesn't extend too far. Thank you, I would appreciate that.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. This has been a wonderful panel. Thank you, Dr. J.C. Lee and Amanda Harrison, for throwing such a wonderful event. There is still extra food back there, so if you would like to take some to go, J.C. has generously provided doggy bags. So if you would like to, please head to the back and take some food. Thank you so much, y'all.